He was a billionaire who thought he had lost her forever, until one rainy night, he saw her again. But the child in her arms carried a truth that left him frozen in shock. Stay tuned because you are about to watch a beautiful story and find out what happened next. Hello, family. Welcome to Tales Haven. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful story. Thank you as you do so. Sit back, relax as we dive into the story. Nathan Cross was a man who had everything money could buy: wealth, power, respect, and a name that opened any door in New York City. But on that rainy Thursday evening, as he pushed open the glass door of Harbor Lights Bistro, he carried something no one else could see: a hollow ache inside his chest. He had come for a quiet meeting with a business partner, nothing more. The bistro was small but elegant, filled with warm lighting, the faint hum of soft jazz, and the smell of fresh bread. Nathan slipped out of his dark limousine and into the restaurant, shaking off his umbrella. His black suit was sharp, his watch expensive, but his eyes looked tired, carrying years of loneliness he would never admit out loud. "Good evening, sir. Table for one?" A voice greeted from behind the counter. Nathan looked up, and his world stopped. Emma Parker. She was standing there in a simple navy blue dress, an apron tied neatly around her waist, her long brown hair pulled back into a low bun. She was smiling politely at him, but the moment their eyes met, the smile vanished. The tray she was holding trembled slightly in her hands. Nathan's chest tightened. It had been over a year since he last saw her. A year since their lives had shattered like glass. "Emma," he breathed, his voice almost caught in his throat. Her lips parted, her eyes wide. "Nathan." For a few seconds, neither moved. Memories flooded in, their laughter during late-night drives, her head resting on his shoulder as they talked about dreams, and then the storm that had ripped it all apart. The fight. Nathan remembered it too well. He had been under heavy pressure from his company. A competitor spread lies, rumors claiming Emma was with him only for his money. At the same time, the media had published photographs of Nathan with another woman, the PR manager in a red dress, taken at a charity gala. Emma had come to his penthouse that night, eyes full of tears. "Tell me it's not true, Nathan. Tell me I'm not just one of your stories in the papers." He had been tired, angry, and proud. Instead of calming her fears, he had snapped back, "If you don't trust me, then maybe you shouldn't be here." Those words were the sharpest knife he had ever thrown. Emma had cried, whispering, "I loved you, Nathan. But I can't fight both the world and your silence." She left that night, her heart broken, her pride wounded. And Nathan, consumed by his own pride, had let her go, believing she would return. But she never did. Now, a year later, she stood in front of him, not as the woman who once fit perfectly into his life of riches, but as a waitress in a small bistro, trying to make ends meet. I didn't know you worked here," Nathan finally said, his voice stiff but soft at the edges. Emma nodded quickly, trying to compose herself. "Life changes." Her tone was calm, but her eyes carried a storm of emotions: hurt, fear, and something else he couldn't name. Before Nathan could say another word, a small cough echoed from the corner booth. Nathan turned his head and froze. A tiny boy, no more than 6 months old, sat propped up in a baby carrier on the seat. His little fists waved in the air, and a soft blanket was tucked around him. Emma rushed over immediately, patting his back gently. There, sweetheart," she whispered. Nathan's breath caught in his throat. "Sweetheart." He stepped closer, his heart hammering. The boy looked up, and for the first time Nathan saw the child's eyes, dark, steady, and hauntingly familiar. They were his father's eyes. His eyes. Nathan felt his knees weaken. "Emma, who is he?" Emma held the baby close, her chin lifting with quiet strength. Her voice trembled, but she didn't look away. "His name is Noah." Nathan swallowed hard, his voice barely more than a whisper. "Is he mine?" Emma blinked back tears, her lips pressing into a thin line. After a long silence, she nodded. "Yes, Nathan. He's yours." The air seemed to vanish. The sounds of the bistro faded into nothing. Nathan's world, the The world of money, meetings, and boardrooms meant nothing in that moment.
His throat burned.
Why didn't you tell me? Emma's voice cracked, though she tried to sound strong. I did, Nathan. I tried. I called, I wrote. Your assistant blocked my number. I even went to your office. But when I saw you with her, that woman in the red dress, I thought I was just a mistake you wanted to erase. I was already pregnant. I didn't want my child to grow up unwanted. Her words struck him like thunder. Shame flooded his chest. He remembered the red dress. He remembered how Emma had looked at him that night, begging for reassurance. And he had given her silence. He dragged in a shaky breath, his eyes never leaving the small boy, his son. Emma, She shook her head, gently rocking Noah.
Not now.
Not here. You've already missed so much. I don't know if I can let you in. But Nathan stepped closer, his voice breaking. Then give me a chance to prove I won't miss another moment. Please. Emma's eyes glistened with unshed tears. She didn't answer, but she didn't walk away either. And for the first time in a long year, Nathan felt hope. A bell chimed from the kitchen. Her manager called. Closing in 10. I need to finish up, she said quietly. I'll wait, Nathan replied. His voice was steady, but his hands were not. He sat in the corner booth while Emma cleared tables with Noah settled in his carrier beside her. The baby blinked up at the soft lights, calm now, one tiny fist holding the corner of his blanket. Every few seconds, Nathan's eyes went back to that little hand, as if it might disappear if he looked away. The bistro emptied. Rain eased to a whisper outside. Emma slipped her apron off and came back with 2 glasses of water and a small plate of bread the kitchen had left. She slid into the seat across from Nathan, keeping one hand on the carrier handle like a quiet shield. For tonight, she said, we talk. Then I take Noah home. He nodded. Thank you for staying. Silence sat between them for a moment. Nathan felt it, the old pride that used to rise in his throat when he was unsure. He pushed it down. This was not a boardroom. This was his family. I was wrong, he started. I hurt you. I let other people's voices be louder than yours. I'm sorry, Emma. His eyes were wet, but his voice did not shake. I should have trusted you. Emma's shoulders softened a little. I needed you to choose me when the noise got loud, she said. Instead, you chose silence. He swallowed. I did. The pictures with the woman in red, they were from a gala. She's my PR director. We were leaving the stage. It looked bad. Reporters pushed stories. My assistant started protecting me by filtering calls. I told him to block every unknown number. I didn't know yours was one of them. That is not your fault. It's mine. Emma traced the rim of her glass. I went to your office the next day. Security said you were in a meeting. I waited in the lobby for an hour, stomach sick, eyes burning. When you finally came out, you didn't see me. You went straight into a car with that same woman and 2 men in suits. It felt like a wall. I walked home and threw up until there was nothing left. That was the day I found out I was pregnant. Nathan closed his eyes. He felt the memory hit him like cold water. He had no idea she was there that morning. He had no idea she was already carrying his child. What happened after? He asked softly. I quit my office job, Emma said. They cut my hours anyway because of the gossip. I took shifts here, mornings and nights. My mom got sick. I used my savings for her medicine. When I started showing, I hid it under big sweaters. I didn't want pity. I didn't want anyone to say I trapped you. Nathan looked at Noah, asleep now, mouth open a little, breath even. You did all that alone. She nodded once. Alone and scared. But I promised him, she touched the carrier lightly, that he would never feel unwanted. Her eyes met his. That is why I didn't come back to knock on your door again. I would not beg to be believed while carrying your child. Nathan let out a slow breath. You shouldn't have had to beg. Not ever. The clock on the wall clicked. Somewhere in the kitchen, a machine hummed. In the quiet, they both heard Noah make a small, sleepy sound. Emma reached to adjust the blanket. May I? Nathan asked. She watched his face for a beat, then nodded. He stood and leaned in gently, careful like a man learning a holy ritual. He tucked the blanket near Noah's chin. The baby's fingers opened and closed, searching. Nathan placed his index finger nearby. Noah grabbed it without looking. Nathan's throat tightened. A smile, small and helpless, crossed his face. "Hi, son," he whispered. Something warm moved through Emma's chest at the word son. She had imagined this moment so many times, and yet she hadn't expected the softness in Nathan's eyes. It wasn't pride. It was wonder. Nathan sat again. "I know I can't fix the months I missed," he said. "But please let me be here for all the ones ahead. Tell me what he needs. Tell me what you need." Emma's voice stayed calm, but her fingers trembled slightly. "I don't want you to try to buy your way in. Not with a big house, not with headlines. If you want to be his father, start small. Start real."
"Tell me how," he said.
"Time," she answered. "Morning feedings. Diaper changes. Rocking him when he cries at 3 a.m. walks to the clinic. Reading the same book 5 times because he likes the sound. And one more thing, no cameras. I don't want Noah's face on the internet." "No cameras," Nathan agreed at once. "I'll handle the press." Kindly but firmly. She nodded. "Good. There's also a checkup next Wednesday." He was premature. "The doctor wants a follow-up scan. It makes me nervous, even though they say it's routine." "I'll be there," he said. "If you want me there." "I do," Emma replied, surprising herself with how true it felt. Nathan reached into his jacket, pulled out a simple notepad, something he rarely used, and wrote down a list as she spoke. Formula brand, bottle size, the song that calmed Noah, the way he liked to fall asleep sideways, the tiny rash he sometimes got near his chin. He wrote slowly, carefully, like every word was gold. Emma watched him write and thought of the old Nathan, polished, distant, always on a clock. This version was still polished, but his armor had cracks. Through them, light was coming in. "Can I walk you home?" he asked when she finished. "No driver. Just us." She paused, then gave a small nod. "All right." He carried the diaper bag. She lifted Noah in his carrier. They stepped out into the cool night. Water shone on the pavement like a new skin. The city felt quieter than usual, as if making space for them. They walked 3 blocks. Nathan matched his steps to hers, not rushing. He didn't talk about lawyers or plans or announcements. He asked about small things. Did Noah like warm baths?
Yes.
Did he hate the sound of the vacuum? Very much. Which side of the crib did he roll to? Left, always left. At the door of her building, Emma stopped. The entry was old brick with a brass handle that stuck if you didn't lift while you turned. Nathan noticed the detail and filed it in his mind the way he did with complex contracts because this mattered more. "Thank you for walking us," she said. "Thank you for letting me," he answered. Noah stirred and opened his eyes. He looked from Emma to Nathan, then yawned wide and made a soft sound. His fingers reached out again, catching air. Nathan gave him his finger. Noah held on. Emma's voice softened. 6 a.m. tomorrow. If you're serious. "I'll be here at 5:50, Nathan said, a quiet smile on his face. "Text me if he wakes earlier. I'll bring coffee. And if you ever want to sleep a little longer, I can take him for a short walk." She studied him a moment more. "We'll see." "That's fair," he said. "One day at a time." She opened the door. Warm hallway light fell across them. "Good night, Nathan." "Good night, Em." She disappeared inside. Nathan stayed on the sidewalk a few seconds longer, hand still tingling where a tiny grip had held him. He looked up at the windows, then down the puddled street. For the first time in years, he set his alarm not for a meeting, not for a flight, but for a baby's morning bottle. And for the first time in months, Emma locked her door, leaned her back against it, and felt her chest loosen. She laid Noah in his crib, kissed his forehead, and whispered, "We're not alone anymore." Outside, the rain finally stopped. A thin moon stood clear above the city, like a small light left on for those finding their way home. The next morning, Emma's phone buzzed softly at 5:50 a.m. She pulled the blanket tighter around her shoulders, groggy from Noah's late-night cries. Through the thin curtains, she could already see Nathan's tall frame standing at the entrance of her building, holding 2 cups of coffee and a paper bag. She almost smiled. He actually came. When she opened the door, Nathan lifted the bag slightly. Blueberry muffins. The bakery 2 streets down opened early. Emma raised an eyebrow. You remembered my favorite. He shrugged with a small grin. Some things don't leave my mind. Before she could reply, Noah's cry echoed from the bedroom. Nathan stiffened, his smile fading into nervousness. That's him. That's him, Emma said. Are you ready? I've closed billion-dollar deals, Nathan muttered under his breath as he set the coffee down. But this might be the hardest thing I've ever done. Emma chuckled softly and led him inside. Nathan followed Emma into the small bedroom where Noah kicked in his crib, fists balled up, face red. Nathan's heart clenched at the tiny boy's cries. He bent down awkwardly, unsure whether to pick him up or salute him. Emma smirked. Go ahead. He won't bite. With gentle arms, Nathan lifted Noah, surprised by how light he was. He's so small. He's growing fast, Emma said, handing him a fresh diaper and wipes.
Here.
Your first test. Nathan laid Noah on the changing mat. The baby squirmed. The tab stuck to Nathan's fingers, and he frowned in concentration. By the time he was done, the diaper was backward, inside out, and loosely hanging. Emma burst out laughing, covering her mouth. You dressed him like he's wearing a parachute. Nathan laughed too, shaking his head. Give me another shot. I don't fail twice. He carefully redid it, slower this time, following Emma's calm instructions. When the second diaper fit snugly, Noah kicked happily. There, Nathan said proudly. Perfect fit. Emma nodded, her smile softening. Not bad, Mr. Cross. After breakfast, Nathan insisted on feeding Noah his bottle. He held it carefully, tilting it the way Emma showed him. Noah's tiny hand rested against his wrist as he drank, eyes half closed in trust. Nathan whispered, almost to himself, I missed this. I missed him. Emma, standing by the sink, paused. She saw a tenderness on Nathan's face that she hadn't seen before. Not the businessman, not the billionaire, but a father. When the bottle was empty, Nathan burped Noah, patting his back until a tiny hiccup escaped. The sound made both adults laugh. Congratulations, Emma teased. You survived your first morning. Nathan looked at her, more serious now. I don't want it to be just a morning. I want all the mornings, all the nights. I want to learn everything, his favorite toy, the sound that makes him laugh, what he'll eat when he starts solids. I want to be there, Emma. Her eyes softened, but she stayed cautious. Wanting is easy. Doing is harder. Then let me prove it, he said simply. The following week came quickly. On Wednesday afternoon, Nathan arrived early to take them to Noah's follow-up appointment. He had installed a new car seat in his vehicle, fumbling with the straps until Emma checked it twice. In the waiting room, Nathan sat stiffly, his hand brushing Emma's lightly on the armrest. Neither moved away. When the nurse finally called them in, Nathan's chest pounded harder than it ever had in a boardroom. The doctor examined Noah carefully, checking his heart, lungs, and reflexes. Nathan held his breath through every pause. Finally, the doctor smiled. He's growing well. His heart is strong. No major concerns. Emma's shoulders dropped in relief. She hadn't realized how tense she was until that moment. Nathan leaned forward, resting his forehead against Noah's tiny head, whispering, You're strong, buddy. Stronger than me. Emma watched silently. Tears blurred her eyes, but this time they weren't from fear. After the appointment, Nathan suggested a walk through the park. They strolled slowly, Nathan pushing the stroller, Emma walking beside him. The cherry trees were just starting to bloom, pink petals drifting like small blessings. Noah babbled at the rustling leaves, and Nathan leaned down to copy the sound, making silly faces. Noah squealed in delight, kicking his legs. Emma laughed, covering her mouth. You look ridiculous. Nathan grinned. If it makes him laugh, I'll look ridiculous every day. Emma's chest warmed. For the first time in months, she felt the heavy wall between them thinning. That evening, Nathan walked them back to Emma's apartment. At the door, she turned to him.
Today meant a lot to me.
To Noah, too. Nathan looked at her with eyes that carried both regret and hope. I don't deserve a second chance with you, but I'll fight for it anyway. Not with money, with time, with love. If you let me. Emma studied him, torn between the memories of betrayal and the proof of change she saw now. We'll see, she said softly. And yet, as she closed the door behind her, she realized something she hadn't dared to believe before. Nathan wasn't just saying words. He was showing her one small act at a time. For the first time in a long while, Emma laid Noah in his crib and whispered with a trembling smile, maybe we're not alone anymore. Nathan stood on the sidewalk after Emma closed the door, the rain still clinging to the air. He placed his palm on the cool brick and made a quiet promise. I will not fail them again. The promise was tested the very next morning. Emma strapped Noah into the stroller to leave for her late shift. As she pushed the door open, two lenses flashed from across the street. A blogger had posted a rumor the night before. Is billionaire Nathan Cross a secret dad? Now, 3 photographers waited like shadows by the curb. Emma froze. Noah startled at the sudden light and whimpered. Her fingers tightened on the stroller handle. Nathan's black car pulled up at that exact moment. He stepped out, saw the cameras, and moved fast but gentle. He opened the back door with one arm and lifted his suit jacket with the other, shielding Noah's face from the flashes without making a scene. Please, Nathan said evenly to the reporters, voice firm but calm. Back up. Do not photograph the baby. One of them muttered, Is that your child, Mr. Cross? Nathan looked the man in the eye.
Yes.
He is my son, and you will respect his mother. Something in his tone made them step back a few inches. Not fear, respect. He turned to Emma. We'll use the side entrance. Emma nodded, breath shaking. Inside the car, Noah calmed. Nathan didn't reach for Emma's hand, but he kept his body between the window and the stroller, a living shield. Emma noticed. At the bistro, the manager, a kind woman named Ms. Lopez, met them at the back door. I saw the blogs, she said softly. Emma, take the night off. I'll cover you. Emma started to protest, then swallowed. Thank you. Nathan spoke to a man waiting by the alley. Plain clothes, no earpiece, no sunglasses. This is Ken, Nathan said. He's here to help, not to hover. He'll keep cameras off the steps and be invisible otherwise. Ken nodded, gentle-faced. Congratulations on your son, ma'am. I'll make sure folks keep a respectful distance. Emma looked from Ken to Nathan. It wasn't a wall of bodyguards. It was a small promise of safety. Okay, she said quietly. Thank you. Nathan's phone buzzed without stopping. PR, board members, gossip shows asking for quotes. He answered one call on speaker while Emma buckled Noah into his portable seat on Ms. Lopez's office couch. We should control the story, said Ava, Nathan's PR director, the same woman in the red dress from the photos a year ago. A sit-down interview. No, Nathan said. One written line. That's all. He typed slowly, then read it aloud. I am Noah's father. His mother is a private person.
Please give them peace.
No further comments. Ava sighed. You're going to take heat. I'll take it, Nathan replied. Not them. He ended the call. Emma watched him for a long second.
Thank you, she said.
For making it simple. Simple as honest, he answered. That night, back at Emma's apartment, the hallway was quiet until a neighbor's door cracked open. So it's true, the woman said under her breath. Trapping a billionaire. Ken appeared at the stairwell and cleared his throat. Evening, ma'am. His voice held a polite weight. The door shut. Emma's shoulders trembled. Nathan balanced the diaper bag and spoke softly. I'm sorry you're taking the hits meant for me. Inside, Emma set Noah down. The apartment felt smaller than usual, like the walls had leaned in. Nathan set the bag on the counter and faced her. We need to talk about then, she said. Not to hurt each other. To heal. He nodded, steady. Say what you need to say. She took a breath. I asked you to choose me when the rumor started. You stayed silent. I walked away with a breaking heart, and when I came to find you the next day, I saw you with her, your PR head, and it felt like proof. Nathan didn't flinch away. I believed strangers over you, he said plainly. I armored up when I should have reached out. I told my assistant to filter every unknown number. That meant I blocked you. I see how cruel that was, even if I didn't mean it to be. He pulled out his phone and turned the screen so she could see. Your number is now set to break through, always.
Calls.
Texts. Middle of the night. I also changed my assistant. I will take responsibility for my phone, my doors, my decisions. Emma's eyes stung. Words are easy when the heart is soft for a moment. Then hold me to actions, he said. Every day. They made tea. Not coffee, not champagne, just tea in chipped mugs. They sat at the tiny table and set rules in simple language. No secrets. If a headline appears, they tell each other first. No public show. No posts about Noah. No staged photos.
Real time.
Nathan takes 2 weekdays and 1 weekend morning with Noah, at Emma's place or his, whatever keeps Noah's routine steady. Help, not control. Bills for the clinic are paid, but Emma keeps her job and her choices. Nathan can offer, not order. A line to lean on. If either of them feels fear or anger rising, they say it before it grows. They wrote it down on a clean page and both signed, like a contract, but warmer. When the kettle clicked off, Noah stirred. Emma stood, but Nathan raised a hand. Let me. He lifted the baby and began to sway, slow, unsure at first. He hummed a tune that was slightly off-key but full of care. Noah settled against his shoulder, breath sinking with the rhythm. What song is that? Emma asked softly from the doorway. My mom used to hum it when I was small, he said, still rocking. No words. Just home. Something in Emma's chest loosened. The hardest man she knew was standing under a cheap ceiling lamp, humming to a baby and forgetting there was ever a world outside this room. When Noah was asleep again, Emma picked up the baby monitor and rested it in Nathan's palm. Keep this tonight, she said. If he wakes between 2 and 4, I'll try to sleep through it. You go first. Nathan looked down at the plastic monitor as if it were crystal. You're sure? I'm trying, she said. Trying is all I have. He nodded, eyes bright. Then I'll try twice as hard. She smiled, small but real. You don't have to compete. Just be steady. I can do steady, he said. Near midnight, wind rattled the window. A text from Ava pinged. Another outlet wants a quote. Nathan silenced the phone and turned the baby monitor volume up instead. At 2:37 a.m., Noah fussed. Nathan was already up, moving quiet through the dark. He changed a diaper by the light of the hallway, warmed a bottle, and whispered, It's okay, buddy. I've got you. Emma, half awake, heard his low voice and fell back into a deeper, safer sleep than she had known in months. Before dawn, the storm outside passed. The room held only soft breathing and the slow tick of the kitchen clock. Nathan stood by the window for a moment, watching the first thin stripe of morning slide between buildings. He didn't take a photo. He didn't write a post. He just looked and let the light touch his face. In the next room, Emma woke to silence and the faint smell of warmed milk. She sat up, listened for a cry, and heard nothing. Only the steady steps of a man walking a small circle, patient and sure. She lay back down and let a thought come without fear. Maybe this is what sunrise feels like after a long night. And in that early light, with the city still quiet, the three of them were a small, brave house against the world. One promise kept, one breath at a time. By sunrise, the apartment was quiet. Emma sat up to the soft sound of footsteps and the faint clink of a bottle being set in the sink. She peeked into the living room. Nathan was in the armchair with Noah asleep on his chest, one big hand curved gently over the baby's back. His tie was off, his shirt sleeves rolled up. He looked tired, but peaceful, like a man who had finally chosen where his life should point. Emma's heart lifted. He stayed. He kept his word. She took Noah and laid him in the crib. Nathan rubbed his eyes and stood, embarrassed. He woke twice, he whispered. We talked about important things like socks and milk. Emma smiled. Thank you. Breakfast, he asked. I can do toast. You can do toast, she agreed, laughing. They ate at the tiny table with chipped edges, toast, blueberries, tea. No big speeches. Just quiet, steady morning. After breakfast, Nathan pulled a small page from his pocket, the page where they had written their simple rules the night before. He taped it to the refrigerator door. Non-negotiables, he said, tapping each line. No secrets. No public show.
Real time.
Help, not control. Say the fear before it grows. Emma read the words again. They were not romantic lines, but they felt like love. Let's keep this, she said. Even when we're tired. Especially when we're tired, he replied. That afternoon, Nathan met his PR director, Ava, in a quiet cafe around the corner. Emma joined, by Nathan's choice, not as a guest, but as the person at the center of the matter. Ava spoke first. Emma, I'm sorry for how last year looked. I should have protected your name better. Emma nodded. Thank you for saying that. Nathan slid a one-line statement across the table. This is all we release. Nothing else. I am Noah's father. His mother is a private person.
Please give them peace.
No further comments. Ava read it, then looked up.
Clear.
Gentle. I'll make sure it's respected. Nathan also called his board chair. I'm taking 2 mornings each week and 1 weekend morning fully offline, he said. Family. The company will be fine. The chair laughed. We'll survive, cross. We prefer the version of you that sleeps. Emma heard the call and felt something ease inside her. Nathan wasn't asking permission to be a father. He was doing it with calm certainty. That weekend, Noah ran a mild fever. It rose fast in the late evening, and old fear clawed at Emma's chest. Nathan was already reaching for the thermometer. I've got it. He checked the number, opened the pediatrician's handout on his phone, and spoke softly. We do a cool cloth. We watch. If it climbs above this, we go. Emma held Noah while Nathan moved with careful hands, cloth, fresh diaper, clean onesie. He didn't flood the room with worry. He steadied it with presence. Within an hour, the fever eased. Noah fell asleep against Emma's shoulder, damp hair curling at his neck. Emma looked over the baby's head at Nathan and mouthed, Thank you. He shook his head. He mouthed back. On a soft Sunday evening, Ms. Lopez quietly organized a little garden gathering behind the bistro, paper lanterns, fresh lemonade, a simple banner painted by the staff. Welcome, Noah. Ken stood at the alley to turn away cameras with polite firmness. A few neighbors came, including the woman who had whispered a cruel line in the hallway. She approached Emma with her hands clasped. I was wrong, the neighbor said, eyes wet. I'm sorry. You're a good mother. Emma accepted the apology with grace. Thank you. Nathan wore a white shirt and no tie. He carried Noah, who wore tiny suspenders and a serious face like he was the guest of honor. Emma walked beside them in a soft blue dress, hair loose. When the laughter settled, Nathan cleared his throat. No stage, no mic, only people who mattered. I don't have a speech, he said simply. Just a promise. I wasn't brave a year ago. I let pride speak louder than love. I can't win back time, but I can give all the days ahead, with patience, with honesty, with work. Emma, if you'll have me, I want to build a quiet life with loud love. Not perfect. Steady. He opened his palm. Inside was a small, simple ring, silver, not flashy. Emma recognized it. He had bought it before their worst night and kept it, waiting for a future he thought he'd lost. Her eyes filled. She glanced at Noah, then back at Nathan. No grand show, she whispered. Just us. Just us, he said. Yes, she answered, voice shaking and smiling at once. Yes. The garden clapped and hooped. Ms. Lopez's eyes shone. Ken actually grinned. Nathan slipped the ring on her finger. He kissed Emma's forehead first, then the cheek, then, softly, her lips. Noah made a happy sound at the noise and clapped his hands like he understood. 2 weeks later, in a small courthouse room with pale sunlight on the floor, They sign their names. No press, no fuss. Just a judge, Ms. Lopez as a witness, and Ken standing near the door pretending he wasn't emotional. Nathan held Emma's hands. "We choose the same door," he said quietly. "Every day," she replied. They celebrated with burgers and paper bags on a bench at the park where the cherry trees had begun to leaf. Nathan fed Noah tiny pieces of soft bun and laughed when he tried to eat the napkin. It was ordinary. It was perfect. 1 year later, morning light washed their kitchen in gold. The refrigerator still held the page of rules, a little wrinkled now with time and steam. A second page sat beside it, a list of Noah's new words and the neighbors he liked to wave at. Nathan stood at the stove flipping pancakes while Noah, now toddling on unsteady legs, thumped a plastic spoon on his high-chair tray. Emma leaned on the counter, hair up, eyes bright. "Park after breakfast?" she asked. "Park, then the clinic donation meeting," Nathan said. Quietly. "No photos." Emma smiled. They had chosen to fund the Prematurita program that had helped Noah. Their names were printed small and low on a plaque. No press release, just a door that would open for another scared parent on a long night. Noah let go of his spoon and took 3 wobbly steps from the chair to Emma. She dropped to her knees, arms wide. "Look at you." Nathan froze at the stove, a pancake mid-flip, his smile breaking wide and helpless. "He did it, Em." Noah fell into her arms, giggling. Emma kissed his hair, then looked up at Nathan. "We did it." Nathan set the pan down and crossed the room. He wrapped his arms around both of them. For a moment, all 3 stood in a warm, breathing knot, pancakes forgotten, windows bright, the city humming beyond the glass. "Do you still feel shattered?" Emma asked softly, remembering a hard night long ago. Nathan pressed his forehead to hers. "No," he said. "I feel home." Emma looked at the ring, simple, steady, then at the page on the fridge. She whispered the promise that had become their way of living. "We choose the same door." Outside, the world went on with its noise and headlines. Inside, a little boy laughed, a pan hissed, and 2 people, wiser, humbler, braver, kept the small vows that make a life. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you find this story worth watching. If you do, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful stories, like, and share this video to your friends and loved ones. Your support and engagement encourage me to post more videos. Thanks for watching.